Non-fungible tokens.
Are things that cannot be duplicated.
I actually have no idea.
Like a digital ticket? I don't know.
They can be an art.
Art piece.
Well, art is subjective, right? If you like it, you like it. Right. Hi everyone, my name is Shikai, and I'm the General Partner and COO at Longhash Ventures, where we invest in Web3 startups and infrastructure. Today, we're going to bring to you a new YouTube series called NFT for You. This is created because you might be wondering, there's so many new terms being thrown around: NFTs, Web3, Metaverse. What do all of these mean? What's the technology underlying them? How do you use them? How do you engage in them? We are here to explain all of that. So please come along to this journey. NFTs stand for non-fungible tokens. At a very basic level, if you haven't heard of it at all, you can think of it simply as digital assets or digital rights. So digital assets as in maybe this table or this cup, but in the virtual world or in a game setting where you can still verify that it's unique and owned by a particular person. Digital rights could be talking about, for example, a concert ticket, a membership at a club that can be represented on the blockchain so that anybody can see it and everybody can verify it. If you already own some of these NFTs, you might have realized that actually you need to create an account on the blockchain or create a wallet on these blockchains. Or maybe you have a centralized platform that does it for you. But the fact is that you need to own these digital assets. And that fundamentally is different from when a platform tells you that you have these assets, because they are unable to take it away, and any other platform can actually verify that you own these assets on the blockchain. That also means that any other project or club or community can recognize and therefore give you certain rights or perks related to the NFTs that you hold. Now, if you're already very familiar with NFTs, then you might want to start to zoom out to the bigger picture, right? If you think about all these NFTs that you've held, that you've transacted, that you've used, all the communities that you've joined because of the NFTs that you own, you start to see actually this social graph that's being formed from all the behavior and all the connections that are formed from these NFT behavior. So what ends up happening is this kind of like public database that's open for everybody to see. And this forms the foundation of a digital world that's open for everyone. Of course, we can go into a lot more things like along the entire tech stack. How is the NFT minted? And then therefore, where is it stored? How do you provide utility on top of that? We could go into how it links to the physical world, for example, with digital NFTs. Or we could go into many of the use cases, things like particular types of NFTs like music or land or avatars, or even some of the intersections with financial use cases like how you could lend and borrow or take out like loans against these NFTs. So if you'd like to know what we can talk about, please influence this decision by commenting on this video. And remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you can be the first to find out when we post this new content. The idea of NFTs actually may only be popularized recently, but has been around for many years. Since the beginning of Ethereum, which was around 2015 or so, people have been talking about digital assets. And then specifically, you talk about like tokens, which are like fungible because they're all the same, but also non-fungible digital assets. Each of the assets are unique. So in early 2017 or mid 2017, some of these projects started to get launched. Things like CryptoPunks or CryptoKitties that you might have heard of before, which are very simple like pixel projects. But it was only until 2018 where the standard for issuing NFTs, called the ERC 721, was formally proposed in an Ethereum improvement proposal. These days, the NFT standard varies very widely between different blockchains, but it is still the most popular EVM standard today. The way I think about the value of NFTs lies in two major categories. The first is intrinsic value, that the NFT itself represents or is something that has required effort for it to produce. So you might talk about something like, let's say, music that takes a lot of time and creativity for you to produce. Or let's say a long-form article that you need to write. Or maybe a piece of digital land that you need an architect to build buildings upon. When these objects take time and effort to create, that gives it its intrinsic value by the way that people want to buy the time and effort or the talents of these people that were used to create these assets. The other way to think about it is that the fundamental rights are not within the NFT, but with what you can do with the NFTs. And this is what we call utility value. So here we alluded to that in the form of things like concert tickets. It represents your rights to join certain communities, hang out with them, or maybe even participate in, for example, the next sale from the same creator. These value creation methods are not mutually exclusive. So the same NFT, for example, can have fundamental value and utility value, or it can have just one or the other. For example, if I have a very simple membership pass that can just be this block that says the MetaV membership pass, right? It doesn't need to have a particular art associated with it that's really nice, although it might have. But the main reason you have it is so that you can participate in the future NFT activities. But it could very well be that a musician, for example, might want to say, here, I'm selling you a copy of my latest album. And if you buy this latest album, I'm going to give you the initial rights to join my first concert. Or I'm going to give you a backstage pass when you come to my concert. Yes, of course, the nature of the blockchain is that it's permissionless and open. So anybody can use the blockchain to create these digital assets. So if you have a piece of work that you think has intrinsic value, like a photo that you took that's really nice, a piece of music that you've created, or maybe you want to create a specific club, like a membership club that you want to curate a particular community, it's as easy as going to one of the many platforms. The most popular one right now is OpenSea, and there are many others, for example, Rarible or Mintable, or you might want to go to a more specialized one like Foundation, for example, or other like rich media ones like Royals, Pianity for music NFTs, for example. But it simply takes a matter of minutes for you to mint your own NFT. The challenge is if you want to go for the higher end. Many people are thinking about these like 10,000 collection of NFTs. Those take a lot more effort because you need to actually define the traits of those NFTs and learn to randomize them, and then you think about an auction mechanism. There are also some which are like more innovative. For example, I might want to create a piece of art that's generated on-chain itself, something like an art blocks, where it's the algorithm that's on-chain, and then the art is rendered on-chain and displayed to the user when you call that contract. So those require a bit more technical knowledge, but all of this is publicly available, and right now there's still a lot of space for you to innovate. Well, firstly, I wouldn't say they're rubbish art because, well, art is subjective, right? If you like it, you like it. Some people really love the penguins, for example, or they really like the aesthetic of the apes. They think it's really hipster and cool, and therefore you buy them for the art. But honestly speaking, very few people buy it just for the art, right? Because would you pay thousands or tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands for some sort of art piece? Very few of us are art collectors, but all of us are community people, right? We like to hang out with people that we vibe with. And often that's what's happening today with these collections like Bored Apes or like Pudgy Penguins, which has gone through some sort of history. The community is what keeps these projects together. You want to hang out with these people and you want to verify that they also own this piece of NFT that you own. And ironically, because it's so expensive now, it kind of feeds in on itself in this social feedback loop. When it's early on, you feel like it's cool, it's edgy, right? And as it grows and more people get in, it gets more expensive, celebrities buy them, then you feel like, oh, I'm part of a luxury crowd in a way, or I own an expensive NFT. Some people might buy in because it's expensive. Some people stay because people who are able to afford these expensive NFTs come in. So these cultures will change, but in the end, it's like the people that own these NFTs that collectively create and maintain the value of these collections. Firstly, I would not advise that for most people, right? And obviously, none of this is any financial advice. But quitting a job to sell NFTs is a pretty risky move, right? And you don't really need to do that. Honestly, you can just mint and sell NFTs on the side, similarly to how you could be painting over the weekend and trying to sell the art piece on the road, right? So if you want to go into NFTs full time, I would recommend there to be a more sustainable model, or maybe there is a community around your work or like your team that has already grown, such that you know they will be there when you go there full time. Please comment below on what you have learned from today's episode, and we'll see you next time.